Hello, this is Palico Padge and welcome back to another episode of Sleepy Sunday with the game 80 Days. I don't need to say let's play at this point, do I? 5 episodes in. I like to think you know what you've come for by this point. You know, we've established it. We have set the base and we're building on it. We're building that big rickety shack all for us to be let down within 80 days or, as I fear, over 80 days. But hey ho, let's not jump ahead of ourselves. We don't know what's going to happen. We may find a teleportation device. I did find one of those. Admittedly, it did send me backwards, but hey ho, they're out there. They're in the game. They're in the game. But at the moment, we are in Calcutta. We have made it, as they say. We have got a very, very large journey we could do here. It would cut out, well, I don't even know what part of the world this is. That's India there, so I guess China. Yeah, we're cutting out a large section of China. We could stop over in Singapore, but ideally we want to end up in Hong Kong. So, and then obviously we've got more stuffs going on up there. So we're probably going to jump on a boat here and then just see where it takes us, really. But speaking of which, what's going on? What's in the market? We did make up a lot of money last time around, which was awesome. We could do with that. But it does mean selling stuff. Or I could buy an extra suitcase. It's only going to cost me £6. We're rolling in money after being to Anchor last time. So let's buy one. We'll need another case as well. No, we don't need any more. That's enough, Phileas. Let's not go too crazy now. I am, however, very keen to see where that's going to take us. And that's what I was hoping, to find some way across the specific Pacific. Yes. I also got Yokohama lined up. If that takes us all the way over to America, that'd be awesome. Oh, does that take us to Hawaii? Honolulu. Which in turn... Wow. Oh, hang on, we're not done yet. Pyongyang. Ooh, okay. Best timetable ever bought. Yokohama seems to be the place to go as far as a definitive sort of point to get across is concerned. Look at that. Look how many ways are coming out of it. 15 days. I mean, we've got a couple of days in Calcutta if we want to travel all the way to Hong Kong. It's relatively cheap. £750. I dig it. It does kind of take us off from going to Honolulu. I think it'd be very cool to go to Hawaii. I think it's the only time I'm ever going to do it in my lifetime. But they both lead to San Francisco, so I don't know. We're going to have to have a look, I guess. We're going to have a look. So market is done. I suppose we better go to the hotel now. Everything's closed early here. It's not even 12 o'clock and we can't explore. We can only plan. Oh, we'll sleep, I guess. With the last few hours of the evening, how is Monsieur Fogg doing? 87 health? That's enough. And we're okay for money, so there's no need to help the kitchen staff. I spent a few hours walking around and spoke to a remarkably energetic Bangladeshi girl who had mislaid a locket, which I spotted, and from whom I discovered that you could obtain candles scented of rose in Singapore, extremely valuable in Hong Kong. I paid £1 for the information, or I assured her we were unlikely to head that way. You know what? It's only £1. We're rolling in it right now. It's £7,258 back in the day of the Victorian times was like squillions. I'd guess. I don't know. I'd have thought so. It sounds like a lot. Well, it's a lot of money now to me. So, you know, it's bound to be a lot more money then when you had like halfpennies and tuppences and shillings and all that malarkey. So yes, I paid £1 for the information, and she nodded and then moved away. That's fine. I dig it. We can't plan yet. We can't travel yet, can we? One more day. Calcutta isn't all it's cracked up to be. It's quite boring here. But hey ho. As night fell. Now, I am very aware that we are going on a very long journey. I gather from the last time of us walking around for the evening, there's not a lot going on here in general. So I think we'll just attend to Monsieur Fogg Remember, make sure he's up to tip-top fashion, and then we can get on with things. So I attended to Monsieur Fogg, providing him with fresh clothing. And he loves us for it. Of course he does. He's had a photo with us. And now we can depart. And I think we should just go all the way to Hong Kong. For £750, I think that's very, very, very tidy. So we'll do that. We have to lose a suitcase, which is... Oh, bugger. Oh, bugger. Hang on a second. Backwards. I need to go to the market. What time's the market open? No market today? Okay, we're going to lose the getting the money back for the timetable. Well, that's fine. I'll dig it. Yeah, let's do it. Open luggage. Get rid of you. Oh, we get to sell you anyway. Can we sell you as well? Go! The SS Thunder. Boom! Follows the SS Lightning. It's a couple of days ahead. The SS Thunder of the Abcar shipping line had, 10 years previously, set the record for the fastest journey between Singapore and Hong Kong, and her captain promised us a journey of 10 days rather than the unusual figure of 12. Well, let's see, he's set it now, hasn't he? I fear this is verging on the sort of Titanic-esque story. We will get across the Atlantic in the quickest time. No worries. And then, obviously, you know, Rose and Jack and all that malarkey. Let's see who there is to talk to. Greetings, Capitan. Well now, Passpartout. I need to know about Hong Kong. It's easy to lose oneself in the opium dens of Hong Kong. Don't need to tell me twice. Right. We know quite a lot about Hong Kong. We should probably try and find places which we're not familiar with. So, Hong Kong to Manila. I'm sure there is some sort of join there. Is it possible to go from Hong Kong to Manila? Here's the scuttlebutt. You can pick up zoetropes in Manila, extremely valuable in Beijing. That's not what I asked at all. Not what I asked at all. Okay. Hong Kong to Honolulu? I'll say only this. You can buy revolvers in Honolulu, extremely valuable in Panama City. Okay. Noted. And we're on to Chittagong. Took a turn around the deck, interested in who else I might find aboard. Captain Ong An Lee was a dashing fellow, or there were few passengers. He didn't strike me as that interesting. Every time I asked the guy a question, he sort of slapdashed it with a half-assed answer. So there were few passengers on the ship, and that handful were nervy Indian labourers bound for Malaya or Singapore. The ship was crewed by Lascars, a mix of Indians, Singaporeans, Chinese and Malay, who all spoke an entirely incomprehensible sailor's dialect, which I found rather rude or utterly fascinating. I like to think we find most things utterly fascinating, so utterly fascinating. I endeavoured to pick up as many words of the odd patois as I could on our voyage. Early on the first day, we stopped at the port of Chittagong to take on more passengers. Then the captain blew the whistle loud and long. Full speed, he declared. You'll see. And, well, we can only attend to Monsieur Fogg. He has taken a little bit of a beating on that first bit, so we might as well look after him. 99. That's all right. We dined at the captain's table. He made his toast and then asked Monsieur Fogg outright whether he was an opium trader, and I his factotum. I leapt in to deny this. I looked at my master. Let's let the guy sweat. I looked at my master, who merely said he was not. Captain Ong guffawed and commanded our glasses filled once more. It is a profitable business, he advised. A man can make his fortune in opium. If, and he addressed the last to my master, he is not squeamish. Morals and not squeamishness? Or my master is hardly squeamish. Let's jump in. This is the thing with Mr. Fogg. He is a man of few words. He's a man of few words. And those words which do come out of his mouth don't necessarily mean what they say they're going to mean. I wouldn't say he's stupid. He says two words when usually, like 20 would be more sufficient. But hey ho. My master is hardly squeamish, I interjected, with a glance towards Monsieur Fogg. He is too honourable to make his profit in such a manner. I feared the captain would be offended, but instead he merely shrugged. If your master has never known need, then his honour is untested. Fair point. Monsieur Fogg gave me a quelling look before turning to the captain. Your business is your own, Captain Ong, as long as you conduct me to Hong Kong in 10 days as agreed. The captain raised a glass. Fear not, Mr. Fogg. I have anxious customers awaiting my cargo after all. Oh, yeah. Maybe he's trying to cut us in on the deal there and we just missed out. You see, sometimes honour isn't everything. Honour leads to not being cut into an opium deal. So there you go. That's money down the drain as far as I'm concerned. Relations with Fogg have strengthened slightly, although he's still loving it. We'll have another picture soon, no doubt. Another picture. Down to 696. I awoke thinking of croissants. Not just any croissants, my friends, but the croissants made on the corner of the street where I grew up. Delicately crisp on the outside, yielding within. I could smell them, almost feel the texture of the pastry on my tongue. I was so lost in contemplation that I was very nearly late to attend my master's shave. Zotter laws! Yeah. Oh, Monsieur Fogg. Let's see who we can talk to now. Greetings, my dear madam. Tell me of Paris, Passpartout. I'll tell you what, you tell me of Hong Kong. It is easy to lose oneself in the opium dens of Hong Kong. My mother always wanted to travel aboard the Beijing Express from Hong Kong to Beijing. I presume that means you know a bit about Beijing. I would rather know about Singapore. Is it possible to go to Hong Kong from Is it possible to go from Hong Kong to Singapore? I don't know, but the most efficient way to Singapore from here is to go via Manila. And what about Singapore? Singapore has a bad reputation, but it's a decent enough place. But tell me, does the Seine ever flood? I presume that is a major river running through Paris. Maybe? I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. The river floods every year where I come from. Oh well. Well, let's ask him about Peter Falk. Is it possible to travel from Singapore to Colombo? No idea, but now I hear Colombo has a very advanced tram system. Okie dokie. Singapore to Brisbane. We don't really want to be heading in that direction. Where's Port Moresby? Is there a route from Singapore to Port Moresby? Oh no, I've forgotten. I'm so sorry. Goodbye. Well, we found one extra route, I suppose. It all helps. It's not exactly going west, east even, but hey ho. The Lascars who made up the crew seemed to find me an object of great curiosity. I found them curious in return, or great annoyance. No, open-minded here. Curious in return. My attempts to learn a few words of their cobbled-together tongue were met with howls of good-natured laughter. A young Malay shyly asked me what Paris was like. It is beautiful, I said cautiously. The scene glitters like a snake. The theatres spill light and colour onto the streets. The cafes are full of men and women debating and drinking endless cups of coffee. There are beautiful women and beggars all on the same street. She looked at me curiously. I took a deep breath and dissatisfied with my answer. It is much like any other place. Never mind my thoughts. Perhaps you will see it yourself one day. We'll go for that. Let's stay positive. She nodded, accepting my answer. I doubted she would ever set foot in the city of my birth. Oh. Don't kill the dream. Don't kill the dream. So, let's look after him very quickly before we run out of time. You are most reassuring, Passpartout. Today we stopped at Singapore, on the southernmost tip of the Malay Peninsula. Singapore has been British for many decades, and from the harbour it seemed almost as if some little town in Kent or Surrey had been shipped piece by piece and reconstructed on this far shore. We exchanged some labourers for a dozen or so merchants, or we slipped ashore. I don't want to risk getting off the boat and not being able to get back on, so we exchanged some labourers for a dozen or so merchants and made sail by early afternoon. And who do we get to talk to now? Mr. Fogg. What is your wish, master? All is well with you, I trust? What do we want to talk about? The journey, I guess. We haven't had a word about that. We could go into his shaving kit and wool trousers and tots of rum. I don't think they're relative. Hong Kong, arguably, we are heading there. Let's see what he thinks about the journey first. How will we cross the Pacific, monsieur? There are many options, but which one we will choose will decide our route across the Americas. Okay, what about Hong Kong then? What do you know about Hong Kong? My brother designed parts for the Jade Tiger from Hong Kong to Yokohama. Right. What about your shaving kit? I'll shave you, monsieur. Shave away and make it close. Ah, yeah. He is streamlined now. I mean, like, you know, down there. You know, that's the job. That's the job. Got to keep him trim. Got to keep him so he's at least wind resistant. Whatever the matter, you know, whatever the reason, you know, if we were to, you know, be dipped into oil and left in our breeches, then we'd be okay because he is trim now. Absolutely. The captain was on dock in the afternoon as I took a turn. He seemed to hesitate for a moment before he approached and abruptly said, "My brother is an opium addict." "See, I told you. Dirty, dirty captain." "Your brother?" He looked around to make sure we were not overheard before nodding. "My family is from Shanghai. We were poor, but instead of relieving my parents' cares, my older brother became an opium eater, who lied and stole and wasted his ways." I am kind of curious to ask him who sold him the opium. I've got a funny feeling what the answer is going to be. Let's do it. Who sold him the opium? His eyes hardened. "Does that matter? I know that it is British opium. I am no fool, but he chose it." "You are right, or it is a sickness." Now, I could go on a bit of a rant about this. And now I'm not going to fully divulge my past, but let's just say I've experimented. I've never gone hardcore, but I do believe it is a choice. So I am going to say you are right. "I agreed, discomfited. He let your family down. I left Shanghai at 15. I ended up in Singapore with nothing to my name but a shirt, and look at where I am now. My parents live well on the money I send them." "What of your brother, or have you ever smoked opium?" We should probably... Do we want to dig? What of your brother? Let's you know, the guy's sailing us, you know, and covering a fair chunk of the crossing of the globe. I don't think I want to piss him off. So, what of your brother? A look of fleeting sadness crossed his face before it hardened over. "I do not know. Dead, probably, if not begging on the streets." He took a shaky breath. "I have not talked of this for many years, but I wanted to tell you this, monsieur. Things are not so simple as you seem to think." Captain Ong bowed stiffly, and my thoughts flickered between the captain's story and the chest of opium even now in the cargo hold. So, see, this is what I mean, you know. Let he who without sin cast the first stone in the mighty greenhouse of God. We hit a squall today and we were confined to our cabins. I could hear the sailors shout at each other outside as the ship pitched from side to side. Monsieur Fogg, in an uncharacteristic display of humanity, was noisily sick into a nearby bucket. I mopped his brow. I whisked away his bucket wordlessly. Let's whisk away his bucket. There's no need for that to hang about. I replaced it. My master was mutely, if undemonstratively grateful. Yes, he loves us. He loves us. And we love him. He's taken us on a trip around the world, for Christ's sake. His health is doing okay. One of the Indian labourers were lying limp in the corridor outside our cabin. Hello, or I prodded him. Let's say hello. It's rude to prod and poke. Hello, I asked doubtfully, and he moaned. He looked feverish, clammy, and rather warm to the touch. We don't want to really be, you know, getting ill, so I called one of the crew to attend him and watched as he was shouldered away to his cabin. The steward, a wizened Indian of indeterminate weather-beaten years, clapped me on the shoulder as thanks, and in his disjointed tongue promised to care for him, or at least so I assumed. Again, we like to look at the positives of people, and I think that's as positive as we can get, really. The ill labourer was walking in slow circles about the deck when I came up. He looked over as I walked past. And I greeted him with a wave. He gave me a glare. I was to take up a job at an app car warehouse in Hong Kong, but now they think I will not be able to work well. I have no job because of you. He turned away, and I fled the deck rather unceremoniously. Well, that's not my problem, friend. You shouldn't be feverish, should you? Converse quickly. Missed it. We reached our destination in the promised 10 days. Quite a miracle, and one that Captain Ong was clearly proud of. He shook our hands with great gusto as we disembarked, his eyes dancing. Good luck, he called, as I looked around the crowded, colourful harbour of Hong Kong. Well, there we go. So we got one guy's job lost. But we're not ill, which is good, I guess. Let's have a quick look at planning. So, oh, we can actually make it to Yokohama for £100 at 5 p.m. We've got enough time to hit the market. Let's go to the market. Anything here? Worth 4,100 San Pedro, whiskey, luxurious and soldier types as opposed to sea dog and soldier types. Air sickness pills. No, I think we're good here. I think we're good. Anything worth selling? Yeah. I don't think so. I don't think so. See, my problem with recording this in batches every week is I don't quite know. See, I'm sure we well, that especially, we didn't pay that much for it, did we? We're going to get rid of that. Pause across. Leave a bit of space for ourselves. We'll take the air sickness pills. Get out of here. Quickly, quickly, quickly. No, no, no. Quick, 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 quick. Depart, damn it. To Yokohama. Go. Embark. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Oh, the Jade Tiger. This is what Phileas's brother worked on. The Jade Tiger was an old Muj-class Persian airship renovated with Chinese colours and fittings. It was painted all over with Manchu look symbols, or it had been repaired and patched up several times over. It was painted all over with Manchu look symbols. Swastiks, stylized bats and coins. We climbed aboard, ready for the journey east. We will have a quick chat, I think. I am at your service, Monsieur Fogg. Why, my dear, Passpartout? I think we'll give him some air sickness pills. That might put his bits up. Yeah, quite a bit. Maybe a pill would help to settle your stomach, Monsieur. Maybe so. The air is rougher than I would like. And let's give him a tot of rum as well. That would be acceptable, though I much prefer whiskey. Oh, my bad. Okay, well, fancy a shave? Shave away and make it close. Yes, yes. So his health is back up, which is all good. Captain Sue wore a traditional Manchu pow in blue cotton, bone hairpins in her fan-shaped hair, and a jade thumb ring. I extended my hand for her to shake. I bowed low in courtly greeting. They don't touch, do they? So let's bow. I bowed low in courtly greeting. She looked at me quizzically and then asked a series of questions. In an unintelligible tongue or Chinese? In Chinese. I did not know enough of the language to identify a particular variant. An English-speaking crew member was summoned. Her tool belt hung with rope, bolt cutters and climbing equipment. The captain says she expected you to speak Cantonese, she translated, because you were in Hong Kong. Well, I expected her to speak English. Oh, how narrow-minded of you, Passpartout. I speak several languages, I retorted. It just so happens that Cantonese is not one of them. The crew member rattled her bolt cutters at me. The captain speaks Cantonese, Mandarin, 3 dialects of Manchu, Russian and Arabic. Are any of those known to you? I am afraid not, I conceded. The captain, for all her delicately arranged hair and grace, looked thoroughly exasperated and stalked off in a huff. The crew member chuckled and stuck her hand out at me. Song Xing. Looks like I'll be looking after you and your master this trip. Madame Song or Demoiselle Song? Madame Song? I ventured. Song Xing shuddered. Song Xing's fine. It's not fine. I can't say it. Try not to mangle it too much, eh, Passpartout? Her pronunciation was, of course, flawless. Merde! I know what that means. I'm in roaring health, but we must make haste. Yes, yes, yes. It's a quick trip, though. Monsieur Fogg took exception to the moth-eaten red silk drapings which adorned our cabin and asked me to take them down for the duration of the voyage. Is it their condition that you cannot bear, or is it the colour that distresses you? Moth-eaten red silk drapings. I'm going to say condition. Is it their condition that you cannot bear, I asked. Does it matter, he replied with perfect equanimity. Only if a man has a right to know why he does things. I suppose it does not in the end. Only they are quite beautiful, if a little warm. Yeah, let's stay positive, I remarked, sliding my palm across the soft fabric. Song looked terribly surprised, or rather, I think, insulted. terribly surprised when she came to fetch us for dinner and saw the bare walled room. My master is a plain fellow. My master has very particular taste. My master is a plain fellow, I explained. How nice for him to have the luxury of taste, was her only remark, but I felt it sting keenly. Ooh, sarcasm hits me right in the feels. Oh well, Jade Tiger, hey ho, we're almost there. Can we have a chat to someone? Greetings, Song, not going to pronounce your last name. I have a moment to speak with you. So what do you know about Yokohama? Here's something. Yokohama is connected to San Francisco by boat, but the fare is over £3,000. What about Honolulu? Do you know how much that is? I don't know, but you can buy cotton flowers in Honolulu. You can sell for profit in Havana. Okay, what about Honolulu? Have you heard that you can buy accordions in Honolulu worth a huge amount in Atlanta? Oh, okay. Where's that taking me to then? Is that where the ship be? Oh, to San Francisco. Okie dokie. We dined in the captain's quarters, accompanied by Song. A Siberian tiger skin rug sprawled across the floor, or the captain's shelves groaned under the weight of so many books. Yeah, I'm a booky person, so the captain's shelves groaned under the weight of so many books, and I counted 6 composite recurved bows hung on the walls. Archery and Russian novels. What an unexpected combination. Song leaned closer. The captain loves archery almost as much as she loves the Jade Tiger. How did she come to be a captain, I suppose is the best question to ask. Therein lies the tale, the crew member smiled with relish. The captain's father was too old and weak to join the army, and so Captain Zhu put on clothing of a boy and rode out to take his place. But she's so ladylike, I commented, glancing at her elaborative coiffure. It was a grave risk, but she served for 12 years and gained so much honour that when she was discovered, the generals gifted her with an airship and forgave her deception. Is that not the plot of a famous Chinese folktale? This is quite an implausible tale. How marvellous. Is that not the plot of a famous Chinese folktale? I raised an eyebrow. The story of Mulan? Song's eyes widened. You know the story, she said flatly, and then shrugged. You are not so ignorant as you seem. A most stimulating dinner at the captain's table, all told. Ha! Caught you out! You common engineer, you. We tarried at Yokohama in the early afternoon. My eye passed lightly over the slope-roofed buildings, carriages, and bare cherry trees. I made a particular effort to thank Captain Zhu for her hospitality, Song Ying for an entertaining journey. She lied to us. I'm going to thank the captain. In an attempt to convince her that not all foreigners were so boorish as she imagined. Alas, I am not entirely certain I changed her mind. Ready, Passpartout, my master called. Of course, monsieur. I sighed tiredly. I replied eagerly. Of course, monsieur. And followed him onto Japanese soil. Awesome. The evening jacket could earn us well here. Really? Really, really, really. £550? I don't need the money, that's the thing. Part of the heavy storm set. With seasickness pills. Is that because we took them? I think so. Safety harness? Heavy storm set. The katana. Worth a lot in Salt Lake. I think I might buy the katana for £160. What would I sell though? What would I sell? I'm not too fussed by the engineering set. So it hasn't really done a lot for us. So we'll get rid of that. We can pull this across. Cold compress. And then I did dice. I haven't really done anything for us either. So we'll get rid of that for the tot of rum. And then the katana can fit into there. Nice. That'll do. Let's have a quick look around. What can we do? What can we not do? What the hell is going on here? Oh, San Francisco. Scroll out. So. Have I, like, messed up? I thought we had loads of stuff to be doing here. Okay, well, we can't do anything today, can we? It's done it again. Scroll out. I'm sure. Did I bugger up? I might have buggered up, you know. Oh, well. So, when is that due next, then? 14 days. Departs tomorrow. Alright. Alright. Departs tomorrow. Well, there's not a lot we can do now. We've got the cash for it, so that's fine. Let's explore, I guess. Manila. I presume that's going to connect up to us. Yep. Is that it? Is that all you're offering me? It was hard to believe that Yokohama had only relatively recently opened up to foreigners. There was an entire foreigners district not far from the waterfront, where it was as common to hear Chinese or Russian as Japanese. There was a melding of cultures and clothing styles. Russians arrayed in their rich colours, hoop-skirted British ladies lately of Bengal or Singapore, Americans who had adopted the coat-like horori over their shirts and trousers. I noticed a Japanese man watching the scene with a look of intense concentration and scribbling in a sketchbook. I leaned in for a look. He was drawing a stylized picture of the foreign quarters with quick pen strokes, which stopped abruptly as my shadow fell over the drawing. He looked up, clearly irritated. "Do you mind?" he said. His accent was an unholy mix of Dutch, French and English. "I am making a drawing for a woodcut." He was clearly a temperamental sort. "Why does that American appear drunk?" I wondered aloud, and he covered his drawing jealously. "It is an artistic impression of foreigners," he stressed. "You dislike foreigners, then," I predicted. "You are very strange people," he pronounced after a brief silence. "So are you!" "Everyone is strange," I replied thoughtfully, thinking of my travels. He shrugged, clearly unconvinced. He coloured one of the women's skirts lovingly, his hand on the page much gentler and kinder than his voice had been. Finally, he thrust the paper in my direction, assuring me that it was only a preliminary sketch. I accepted gracefully, charmed that he had chosen to bestow a gift upon a near stranger. I stored it carefully. It was a fine souvenir of Yokohama. Does that actually fit? No, didn't think it would. Okay. A rather hurried sketch. It's worth something in San Francisco. What are we going to sell? You know what? We're not going to go back to Rydia now, so we'll get rid of that. Bring that over. Cool. All set, ready for tomorrow. Before the night ended, I afforded my master every service. He's doing all right. I went to stretch my legs and spoke to a charming French clerk who had mislaid a locket, which I spotted, and from whom I learned that buyers in Havana will pay very well indeed for cotton flowers from San Francisco. I thanked him, and he shrugged and went about his affairs. You'd have thought he'd be kinder, you know, a fellow French person, but hey-ho, not one to judge. I am one to get out of here, though. So we will be going to, because we can't go to Honolulu, San Francisco. It's going to cost us lots of monies. But hey-ho. It's only going to cost us 4, which is awesome. Let's do this. On the Water Lily. The Water Lily was a sleek, iron-hulled ship-to-submarine prototype captained by a severe American by the name of Wicker, who wore a top hat. And crewed by. Americans don't wear top hats. And crewed by a mix of Americans, Chinese and Japanese, who all spoke a kind of salty, curse-studded sailor's English. In addition to the usual complement, the Water Lily carried an entire corps of brass-goggled engineers and a brace of submariners on standby, should the captain call the order to submerge. The rumour was that she had been a slave ship or was a Confederate vessel. Oh, is that like one of the same things? Was a Confederate vessel sold off to a private concern in the later, more desperate stages of the Civil War. But I saw no trace of a dark past aboard. The crew seemed a happy family and welcomed us into their iron-hulled bosom. All right. Well, we should probably always take the advantage of being able to keep Mr. Fogg up to scratch. Our cabin, while hardly spacious, was adequate to our needs. One of the midshipmen came by to show us how to use the pressure seals in case of submersion, but in all other aspects, I look forward to, or resign myself to, a peaceful steamship ocean cruising. I was not to be so lucky. Uh-oh. What's going on? We'll wait. He's got 99 health. The salty air blew cool and sharp against my face as I opened the door onto the top deck. It was painfully early, and the only passengers awake were a group of Chinese labourers hunched miserably near the stern. One of their number was vomiting copiously. I'm not getting close to that. I paid them no attention, catching an unpleasant sound from one of their number. Bleh was the sound, I presume. We'll have a word. Oh. Greetings, Capitan. Passpartout, what do you want? I need to know about San Francisco. I have nothing to say. Alright. What about San Francisco to Las Vegas? That'd be useful, certainly. Okay, how about to Salt Lake City? Absolutely, you can get to Salt Lake City from San Francisco aboard the Transcontinental Express. Thank you for that. Thank you. That helps. Oh, that really helps. Jeez, I wonder how much that's going to cost. I accompanied Monsieur Fogg to a game of whist with a family of American missionaries who were travelling back to San Francisco for a family wedding. My master began strongly, but Mademoiselle Loretta, the eldest girl, had a sharp eye and won several hands in a row. A new round was dealt. I noticed Mademoiselle Loretta slip a card into her sleeve or smile triumphantly at my master. It's given me the option. I'm going to go there. Slip a card into her sleeve. I blinked twice in pure astonishment and glanced up at her face, which was utterly calm, betraying nothing of the action of her nimble fingers. The minister's daughter was a cheat, and a skilled one at that. I filed away the knowledge, I think, on that, for an opportune moment catching her eye to convey that I had noticed her little sleight of hand. She blushed with all the manufactured prettiness of an accomplished actress, then raised one eyebrow in silent challenge. Our journey continued on. I got you. I got you. That's going to cost you, girl. I'm going to make you pay. Let's put it back up. I spent today in the company of the Water Lilies submariners. They were all hardly men and women who preferred the dim enclosed spaces of the hold to the top deck. Too much sky, one of them said, squinting suspiciously. Her crewmate nodded. All that fresh air. They shuddered collectively and suggested a bracing race to the boiler room. I impressed them, I suppose, with my physical prowess, coming in a respectable fourth, just behind their commander. She was a half-Japanese, half-American sailor by the name of Davis. Izumi to my friends, she said, clapping me heavily on the shoulder. Now a rematch of your choice. Very well, I declared, and promptly suggested a drinking contest or test of acrobatic skill. Drinking contest! A grin of vicious, unqualified glee spread across Commander Davis's face. I began to think my suggestion a poor one. 3 flasks of sake later, I tried to back out. 3 flasks of sake later, I was convinced of my grave error. Commander Davis was apparently legendary for her ability to hold a drink, whereas I ended the evening in an unexpected embrace with a starboard bulkhead. Not perhaps one of my most successful adventures. But what a story, eh? What a story. That's one for the kids, that is. Alright, who can we talk to now? Greetings, Reverend. Passpartout, good day to you. Right, can you help us? Let's try Cheyenne. Speaking of trains, I understand one can travel aboard the Canadian Pacific Railway from Calgary to Regina. Okay, well, how about Hot Dog Jumping Frog, Albuquerque? I doubt it. Now, anyway, would you believe it? I introduced my daughter to cards to occupy her mind. Indeed. Monsieur, I think it may have worked. She's rather too occupied by them now, I fear. Let's talk about her. Did you realise that the fastest way to Regina from here is to go via Gastown? No, I didn't, thank you. Any more? Regina to Salt Lake City, that would be handy. Let's just say that buyers in Havana will pay very well indeed for cotton flowers from Salt Lake City. It's like people don't even hear what I say sometimes. What about Salt Lake City? We are heading there. I have to go. Thanks, Reverend. You're great help. Great help. So, Gastown is in Canada. That's something we've learned. I was climbing the rigging. As exercise, of course, and not at all for the purposes of spying on the crew to appease my own rapacious curiosity when I heard 2 of the crewmen arguing in a pidgin mix of English and Japanese. I closed my eyes and listened to their voices. Only a few words were audible over the howling of the wind. Shrine, heathen, worship, before a sudden scream rent the air. One of the sailors was falling from the platform's edge. I was unable to look away as he fell. His body lay still and crumpled on the deck, but I heard his scream in my head for days after. I looked up and managed to catch sight of the fallen sailor's companion, his face still and pallid. Was that guilt in his eyes, or merely shock? He slipped away before the captain arrived. And I followed him. He retired to the crew quarters, and I began to hear the sound of desperate muttered prayers. You scumbag. You'll pay, maybe. The Water Lily's crew held a funeral for the dead sailor. I was not specifically invited, but was curious about the incident. The funeral was an excellent opportunity to learn more about the crew. Captain Wicker led the Christian service with customary grimness. I was surprised by the absence of the sailor's companion, who had been arguing with him just before his fall. Yet he was not the only one missing from the funeral. Oddly, only half the crew had come to pay their respects. I suppose the death was, as he was commonplace. I asked my neighbour, or I went in search of the rest, to find them making an offering in front of a makeshift Shinto shrine in the crew quarters. The fellow from the night before was amongst them. The captain doesn't want us at his Christian ceremonies. He thinks nothing of our faith, one of the sailors told me bitterly. We make our offerings here instead. Ah, religion. Always splitting the masses. That's why I don't partake. Storm. Too exhausted to write a proper entry. Suffice to say, we are still afloat. That night I remembered to adjust the pocket watch as we had crossed the international date line and gained ourselves a day. Shit. That's not good. Yesterday's storm hit us with little warning. One moment I was preparing Monsieur Fogg's shaving water. No, we don't need that. Mending one of my shirts or adding a ribbon trim. Mending one of my shirts with careful stitches. The next we were being tossed from one end of the cabin to the other. We were only lucky that the bed was securely nailed to the floor. The ship shuddered and moaned, or rain clattered against our iron hull. The ship shuddered and moaned as the sea flickered with lightning. The storm lasted nearly 6 hours and blew us far off course. The captain spent most of the day peering at his charts, trying to locate our position. There is no land anywhere upon the horizon. Oh! Oh dear. We'll converse. The captain announced a change of destination. The Water Lily would now make for nearby Hawaii rather than San Francisco. We would make port in Honolulu in 5 days and would have to find our own further conveyance from there. That's not good, I'll be honest with you. Honolulu sounded wonderful to me, or Monsieur Fogg's lips pressed ever so slightly together. Yeah, I'd be upset. A rare outward sign of entirely understandable annoyance. This, my master said, will not do. Indeed not, sir. I agreed, but not even daring to calculate the delay and expense our unexpected diversion would cause. Monsieur Fogg gave me a cool, appraising glance. Captain Wicker has reneged upon his word as a gentleman, he said curtly, before lowering his voice to an utmost furtive undertone. Our course is clear. We must mutiny. I opened my mouth to agree. Damn right. Wholeheartedly, but he continued on without so much as a pause. See to it, Passpartout. Use your... Oh dear. Natural charm, initiative, or funds. I'm going to say initiative, I offered brightly. Quite, he said, with the agreeableness of a gentleman who has just given his valet a near Herculean task. We will mutiny in 5 days when we reach Honolulu. Make your preparation as you see fit. All right, well, it looks like we're going to mutiny, I guess. We better have words with people. Greetings, mademoiselle. Passpartout, why hello. What can you tell me of Honolulu? I have heard Honolulu is impossibly beautiful, a paradise. That's great. But can you get loco like you can down in Acapulco? Absolutely, my mother once took the airship Rena Christina from Honolulu to Acapulco. Good to notice, good to notice. What about Panama? No, let's ask about Acapulco. I wouldn't be surprised if you can buy antique maps in Acapulco that will sell for a fortune in New York. Okay. Well, that's far behind. We're not too fussed by that. I mean, come on, we spent £3,000 and he's only getting us halfway to the job, or to the destination. I think that's terrible. Absolutely terrible. You have indeed reneged, sir. Indeed. My task was clear. I was to foment mutiny aboard the Water Lily. I decided to begin by exploiting the crew's animosity towards one another. Divide and conquer. Also, dear Maman always counselled. Or counselled, that should be, I suppose. I considered inflaming their religious passions. Gossip and rumour would be a good way to start. We'll do it with religion. It divides people, though such passions were by their nature unpredictable. So I decided to spread rumours about the Shinto crew members, gossip about the captain. I think desecrate the Shinto shrine, and then they'll be uproarious against the captain, and blame it upon the zealous Christian converts of the crew. It was not long before the Shinto adherents began to seethe and mutter of their ill treatment, looking towards the captain with suspicious eyes. Such suspicion should easily be tipped into revolt. And so it begins. Right, let's have another word. Greetings, Commander Davis. Monsieur Passpartout, yes? Honolulu. So, there is a regular... Excuse me, a bit of a burp there. So, there is a regular banana boat service from Honolulu to San Francisco, but the fare is very high. So, oh, God, and again. We'll stop doing that. Yeah, it does seem to be high in general around here, which isn't good. Let's ask about San Francisco. So buyers in New Orleans will pay a huge amount for harmonicas from San Francisco. And can we get to Omaha? So one can drive by hired carriage from Omaha to Chicago, but the journey is a tiring one. What about to Burlington? Talk a lot, don't you? Have some rum and we'll talk some more. Okay, what about Chicago? My friends, there are matters I can't talk about. Well, let's try and connect all this up. So let's say Chicago to Duluth. Sounds unlikely. Chicago to Washington is a definitely. Never mind that, some buyers will pay well for evening jackets from Washington. Well, worst case scenario, or best case scenario, we can get back en route to San Francisco. And Omaha to Chicago, a little bit further, that's good. It was with satisfaction that I noted a certain increase in tension aboard the Water Lily, a situation I would carefully have to exasperate if my master's mutiny was to have any chance of success. Next, I attempted to ingratiate myself with Commander Davis and the submariners, I guess. They were rather storm-tossed and disgruntled. There are no storms underwater, the commander muttered, her hair a tangle underneath her cap. We should have submerged. I offered her a hairbrush. I tried to buy her loyalty with £500. We should have submerged, I agreed. Captain Wicker risked all our lives. I think perhaps he does not trust your ability as submariners. The commander's face darkened at my assertion. Perhaps you are right at that, she said. Perhaps so. I have heard him say as much. I don't want to rub it in too much, do I? I just want to lay the seeds of doubt and let them grow. So I took my leave, giving my seed. Oh, there we go. Giving my seed of doubt time to sprout in my absence. Day 60, Monsieur Fogg murmured that night in his sleep, and still some distance yet to travel. I know, Monsieur Fogg. I'm trying my best. I really am. I really am. Let's have more wordings. Oh no, let's not. I had attempted to suborn the obvious targets aboard the Water Lily, but wars were often won by the unexpected. With that in mind, I turned my attention upon the ship's artificer, a tall, rather imposing woman in a short jacket embroidered with the guild's copper lily. Artificers were notoriously neutral in the matter of conflict or civil disruption. But I bribed her with 50 quid, why not? Or rather, I should say, I tried to bribe her. She slapped me before throwing the money at my feet. Do not, she warned, towering over me intimidatingly, ever try to bribe an artificer. Oh, my bad. My bad. Well, we got 2 lots again for us. I think that's good enough. The Times, experimental hovercraft to launch from Yokohama soon. And where are you going? Honolulu? Yeah, we're all going to Honolulu. I spent the day putting the last finishing touches to my planned mutiny. It was a matter as delicate and serious as the creation of a souffle by a master chef. I spread a word of my signal amongst my allies. Then I retired. There was nothing more to be done. I spread the word of my signal amongst my allies and retired to bed early, stayed up late. I'm going to say retired to bed early. One could not mutiny on a bad night's sleep after all. He's doing all right. We reached Honolulu in the dark. The captain took a small skiff into the harbour with a few of his officers, wishing to inquire about repairs before putting the Water Lily into dry dock. Monsieur Fogg watched the boat for a long moment. Now is the time, he said crisply. I trust everything is in order. I assured him it was, and he nodded, having expected no other response. Let us hope so. With that, my master retreated to his captain, and I called the signal to arms. The Water Lily erupted into chaos. Everywhere was the clash of sabres and pistols. Now and then I heard the shriek of the officers' sonic weapons. But I was not alone. The half of the crew that followed the Shintio creed fell in behind me with a rallying cry. They thought their Christian crewmates with vicious determination, clearing the top deck within the hour. The Chinese labourers poked their heads out of their cabin at the noise and confusion, but seemed to decide upon a policy of detached observation. I was only grateful that they did not intervene against my band of mutineers. Well, that's okay. The submariners, led by Commander Davis, emerged quietly. There was a long, terrible moment when I wondered at their allegiance. Then Commander Davis caught my eye and nodded. We know when it is time for change, she shouted, driving back any stragglers' law to Captain Wicker. Yes! I saw Mademoiselle Loretta trip up one of the law officers out of the corner of my eye. She tipped her bonnet in my direction, a gesture of respect from one player of the game to another. The whirl of the battle took me away, but not before I saw her falsify a magnificent feint and block the gangway to the navigation room. By noon it was clear that all our efforts were for naught. However, the mutiny did not have the support and numbers required to defeat those who had maintained their loyalty. Captain Wicker and the other officers returned just in time to smother the last flames of rebellion. My master and I were trussed up and set off to the port of Honolulu, or begged to be allowed to remain on board. No, screw them! We'll get off here. It was only due to Captain Wicker's good grace that we retained our luggage. Our mutinous comrades were not treated with such leniency and were thrown unceremoniously below. That was, Monsieur Fogg said with icy precision as we stood up on the strand of volcanic island over which we found ourselves, rather badly done. Yeah. I splashed him accidentally with seawater. Damn right. Drenching his jacket and even managing to catch the brim of his hat. A momentary lapse, my friends. I can only blame the tension and difficulty of the previous days. If you're quite finished, Monsieur Fogg wrung out his jacket, ignoring my half-hearted apologies. We have much to do. Ah, well, he deserved that. It was his idea, bastard. Absolute bastard. And on that note, that very long note, we are going to end it here. So thank you for watching. As always, a like is appreciated, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take it easy.